Friends, I have tragic news. I know it will break your hearts, but the Americans finally took over Russia. There was no real war. Their strategy was to mock the politicians into compliance. The Ivans never stood a chance. The American planes were often seen in the skies above the motherland, and the Russian ones were no longer flying for some reason, narrates Mr. Ahmedzyanov, or Ahmed for short. That's with a T. But nobody paid attention because we had bigger problems. The government had collapsed. No firemen, no police, no food in stores, electricity shortages, gang wars. The society was falling apart. It only took a few years for the country to start resembling the bombed-out United States from the Fallout franchise. Despite appearances, Marauder, English name Man of Prey, is not a political thriller. Instead, it's an original, East Bloc-flavored post-apocalyptic game with cannibals, slavers, and trading caravans. And just to get this out of the way, from both technical and mechanical point of view, this game is a disaster. Definitely one of those experiences you want to read about or watch a video about, but not actually play, unless you happen to have extreme tolerance of jank. The game is based on a book by an anonymous author writing under a pseudonym Berkem El Otomi. We take on a role of a Tatar Muslim, a member of both an ethnic and a religious minority, who survives the social collapse and eventually strikes back at the American invaders, who in this universe play the role of a more malicious Brotherhood of Steel. The occupants banned the word Russia, renaming the country to North Central Asia, and the former Russians refer to American invaders as the housewives. The language in Marauder is very colorful. The author of the books also wrote the game's characters and dialogue, and himself. He's the protagonist. Ahmed is a blatant Mary Sue self-insert type of a character. He's very smart, very good at everything, can predict the housewife's every move. So, Marauder, a Muslim Russian RPG about black soldiers with big guns invading the Red Square. A story that generated enough social capital for its author to start an IRL right-wing political movement. Get into your Arcanum suit and let's go dive into this. Welcome to 30, a small town near the Ural Mountains. Our home. Looks like we can't leave even if we wanted to. The way out is blocked by whatever is left of the Russian military.
Майор, я не понял.
Major, is the order not clear? You were told to dissipate the crowd. Take action.
Сам ты понял?
Do you understand what you're saying? I'm not gonna shoot my own people. Or are you working with them now, you trash?
Кончилась твоя сучья.
That's the end of your bitch duty. Ahmed and his friend decide to take advantage of the confusion and steal something from the nearby military base.
Вояки-то.
Where is everyone? I wish they'd shoot at the Americans, at least once.
Сейчас.
Yeah, do you think they're fucking stupid to shoot at Americans?
Ну так.
Well, that's just proper etiquette. Our friend takes a crate and hauls it to the car. We can't leave yet. We have a tutorial to do. First of all, if you're gonna be playing Marauder, you'll need to do some external file editing in order to unshackle the game's camera. There is a guide on Steam with the exact text you'll need to copy-paste. This enables the zoom out functionality, which I've been told is important in tactical games.
Чё, прилечь охота?
The combat is real-time plus auto-pause. But don't think of this as RTWP like in Infinity Engine games or in Dragon Age. This is something else completely.
Так вот она как жизнь-то поворачивается.
I'd describe it as top-down super hot, where you have to micromanage your every action down to milliseconds. These silhouettes represent things we hear but don't see.
Кирдык.
Ahmed kills half a dozen Russian conscripts who look like they haven't eaten in weeks. He starts the game with a very simple hunting rifle and a knife. We'll get much better stuff very soon. Marauder isn't even that bad aesthetically, but the textures are very low res. I rarely even notice this kind of stuff, but I did in this game. Time for a more complex combat encounter.
Ты Ты чё, баран?
Are you a moron? I told you not to shoot the gas tank. All the fuel leaked. Ahmed's cautious movements tell us that this is perhaps a fight we want to avoid. These guys are gonna watch the burning car for a minute and then they are scripted to just wander off the map. They're quite dangerous, but here I managed to aggro, isolate and kill one of them.
Так, что-то мне это не нравится.
That's the car that belongs to our friend, the one we looted the military base with. By observing the way the vehicle is positioned, Ahmed figures out that his friend is about to betray him. If I want to take a look inside, I'll have to turn my back to the window.
На!
This is gonna be a theme in this game. Ahmed is very smart for how much of a moron he is. This place, and a great number of locations in Marauder, exist in real life. The town's actually called Ozersk. Back in the 90s, many Russian towns really looked like this, with similar levels of decay. Some still do. This environment is barely fictional. The apartment block Ahmed lives in is our base. We'll always be coming back here between the story events. An important adjacent location is the marketplace. The entry fee is F5, meaning 1545 caliber bullet, commonly used by Soviet guns. The money of Marauderverse. Quite a few traders, but as of right now they don't have much in stock, and we don't really have the money. This game offers a more grounded, certainly a unique take on post-apocalypse. In Fallout, you travel from place to place solving ethical problems. In Marauder, you steal a can of beans from a homeless person. In Fallout, it was the Great War. The apocalypse in Marauder is called the Big Fuckery, or the Big Fucking. Anyway, it's time to go to bed. A bunch of heavily armed gangsters and their slave workers are hauling construction materials to the nearby Palace of Culture building, which until now was vacant. Having a bandit base this close to our neighborhood puts us all in danger. For some reason, the cutscene is directed to give you an impression that Ahmed is looking at them from the window, but actually they are many blocks away from here.
Твари, сука.
Our protagonist is engaging in an internal philosophical debate, something he does thinking about various aspects of the situation, while slowly convincing himself that the only way out of this is to kill a lot of Russians, his solution to everything.
Ты что еще выдумал?
Turns out the Socratic dialogue is not internal. His wife thinks Ahmed is nuts.
Все, рот закрой.
He tells her to shut up and go back to the kitchen, leaving detailed instructions on what needs to be done. After making some purchases, we're gonna be cooking explosives. The Palace of Culture is well guarded. The plan is to disguise ourselves as one of the slave workers. This homeless person has a dirty enough outfit. The wool coat is called a vatnik, but you might have seen this word used online with a different meaning. A vatnik is the Russian version of this. It's what happens when Russians get too high on their own supply. Right-wing politics with a Soviet theme. Anyway, in Rusnia studies, we classify Marauder as a product of early vatnikism. The key events that shaped that period were the 1999 Belovezh Accords, when the USSR effectively ceased to exist, the 1996 Hasavurt, the Russian humiliation in Chechnya, the 1999 NATO intervention in the Kosovo War was a shock. When that happened, our history teacher addressed the kids, saying that the world has changed. Americans can do whatever they want now. And of course, one of the most impactful events was the 2004 Orange Revolution in Ukraine. Its pro-Western motifs destroyed the brain of many a vatnik, who could not conceptualize that someone would want to leave their welcoming embrace. No, that can't be real. Foreigners put them up to this. Oh, Boris, if only the CIA was this based.
Уважаемый, извините ради бога.
Ahmed successfully infiltrates the construction site. Beautiful Soviet mosaic art. The guards are not hostile, so the only thing we have to do is to put explosives at key points of the structure, and that's it. Mission accomplished. But we are not going to be doing that. Ahmed will get more items and XP if he manually kills all the bandits before blowing this place up.
Кирдек.
This is hard and takes many reloads, but the reward is worth it. A Saiga shotgun, a much better outcome. And this is the reason we are gonna need the shotgun and the ammo we just acquired.
А куркуля с углового дома раскулачивать!
Someone is spreading rumors that Ahmed is stockpiling food in his apartment. This is not true, but the neighbors are about to initiate the dekulakization procedure on our Muslim ass.
Слышь ты!
Hey, open up! Don't worry, we won't hurt you. Yeah, I don't believe them.
Хана тебе!
Alright, you're done here. The neighbors intent on lynching us. There are around 20 of them, including multiple old women who look like they're 70.
Кто тут борзый такой?
People will throw rocks at us. Some of them have knives. 2 or 3 possess hunting rifles. These are dangerous.
Люди добрые!
Кто тут борзый
Поделим
такой?
добро по справедливости!
Get him, kind people. We will share his stuff equally. The only treasure we have is the Saiga shotgun we just acquired, and Ahmed is not exactly hiding it.
На! Мы здесь ежели чё воюем!
In my lane, flourishing, killing vast amounts of infidels. Without a Saiga, it would have been very difficult. This is both tactically and narratively fascinating scenario. Another long and eventful day.
Эй, в адресе! Открыли и на колени все, мордой в стену! Стволы откинуть, руки за голову! Хоть одно шевеление, разнесем все к ядрене фене!
Open up, hands behind your back, face the wall. These guys are the remnants of the law in 30. They came to arrest us. The person in charge seems to know Ahmed. They served in the Soviet Union together, he says. Well, this changes everything. Back in the military, Ahmed was a trained sapper. These guys' boss, Konyev, happens to be in need of this sort of expertise. Ahmed agrees to do the job, but asks for payment, an Utias 50 cal machine gun and 500 bullets.
Да ты, блин, чурка как...
Konev's Spetsnaz subordinate calls Ahmed an arrogant but the boss agrees to our demands. The game doesn't do a good job explaining exactly where we are going and what's the significance of all this. We are to loot an old Soviet vault, an underground warehouse. The problem is that the place is heavily mined.
Все замерли. Работает сапер.
Demining the exterior is easy enough, but Ahmed is worried that there might be mines inside the vault, and these are way more difficult to deal with. So he offers a solution. Go to a nearby town, draft a bunch of homeless people. We are gonna use them as an impromptu demining tool.
Рыло.
Hey, Face, your job is to go through the tunnel until you reach the gate. Once you do, look around and head back.
До одного считаю. Раз. Ух ты!
Wow, that was loud. What kind of mine is that, Sapper? The same kind they had above ground. It's loud because we are in a sealed environment.
Давай второго тащи на всякий.
Ahmed tells the troop to bring a second bomb, but then instead of sitting and waiting, he decides to explore the vault himself, slowly realizing just how much treasure there is. Time for another Ahmed brain monologue. Konyev seemed dependable enough, but his subordinates? One of them might make a power play. Which one though? Probably that Spetsnaz fucker who was rude to Ahmed. TLDR, time to kill a bunch of Russians.
Эй, чурка!
Hey, come out, we need you. Batman, Baggins, find him and bring him to me. These guys have fun nicknames. So, the actual racial slur they use is quite a bit more powerful. It's essentially a Russian equivalent of the N-word, except it's usually aimed at Asian people. To help you get in character, here is a quick guide on Russo-Soviet race relations. Your value in Russian society is determined by the following equation. The first part is about how valuable you are based on how you look, and the second part is about where you are from. Colorism or lookism is simple. The whiter you are, the better. At the top are the Western-looking people. Then there are Slavs, and below them, individuals with mixed features. The more Asian features you have, the less valuable you are. But it's not just about the looks. Your cultural and ethnic background are also important. At the height of the ethnic hierarchy is the imperial core. Beneath them are their former Eastern European subjects, Ukrainians, Belarusians, and the colonized people from the Urals. And at the bottom of the hierarchy are the ethnicities native to Siberia, Central Asia, Caucasus, and the Far East. So let's apply all this to Ahmed. The character is a Mary Sue self-insert, so the devs made him have a Western face with just a dash of Uralic features. Not bad, he's about equal to a Slav in value. But when it comes to his ethnic background, things get more complicated. Tatar blood, well, that's just not a good spawn point. Muslim, oh yeah, Russians will make sure you know your place in the hierarchy.
Это что тут у нас?
The music feels like something out of a Command and Conquer game.
Ну вот и поговорили, Рэмбо херова.
Taking out the Spetsnaz isn't too hard because we found an AKSU in one of the crates. So many great items here. I wish I had a backpack with me. Konev doesn't seem to be too upset about the premature deaths of Batman Baggins and the other guy. He clearly likes Ahmed and keeps trying to draft him into their organization, which is basically a bunch of ex-military people trying to fill the power vacuum.
Нет, товарищ полковник.
No, Comrade Colonel. The USSR is no more and I'm free of the oath. In any case, Konev kept his end of the bargain, providing us with a tank machine gun.
Алло, гараж!
Who is there? It's me, the from the building number 1. Ahmed gathers all the surviving neighbors downstairs. He has an announcement to make. He'll be turning the neighborhood into his personal fortress. We don't need extra people who ain't trustworthy, so gather your shit and get out. Plenty of empty apartments in this town.
Но сам понимаешь, уже без компенсации.
If you comply, I'll pay you a compensation. And if you don't, you'll be leaving anyway, except without the compensation.
Слышь, Ахмед,
One of the locals, Vityok, expresses a desire to join our team.
братан,
Ahmed, brother, thanks for putting your trust in me. Now your family is my family. I'll fight anyone for it, even you. Vityok is not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he has a bunch of shotgun perks and his voice actor does a great job. A fine squad member available in some missions. This game is very Ahmed-centric. Anyway, it's bedtime.
у коня поначалу...
Taking advantage of the bounties of the Soviet vault, Konev's pseudo-cop faction took over 30. Months went by. Ahmed and Vityok transformed their commie block into a citadel, decorating one of the upper floors with a 50 cal machine gun nest. Konev's goons kept up the peace in Ozersk, occasionally carrying out extrajudicial executions. And eventually, some of the cops became adventurous. One day, a delegation arrives in Ahmedgrad.
Короче, услуги охраны теперь платные, коммунизм кончился.
Basically, he says, the services provided by the police now require payment. Communism is over. You are not poor, so from you we ask for 3 cans of meat a day. Don't bother crying, we know you can afford it. And if you don't have food, we'll take the bullet equivalent.
И чё? В курсе, Конев?
Does Konev know about this?
Ахмед, ты...
Ahmed, you're a big boy. Don't make me explain these things.
Это чего ж теперь?
What's gonna happen to us? Go back to the kitchen. Whatever happens, happens. They said they'll take the bullet equivalent.
Ты что, Ахмед? Ларек никогда не держал.
Victor doesn't get it. The game made a chronological jump forward. The building is now a death dungeon like one of the mazes in the early 90s RPGs. But this one is mostly vacant, the only monsters living here being us, which is different from what it was in the book. The literature Ahmed is a landlord. The merchants from the marketplace store their goods in Ahmedgrad. This is actually his main source of income. And in order to leave an impression on the clients, he likes to emphasize his ethnic features, pretending to be a Bashkir Gopnik. This is very clever. Ethnicities of Muslim background have a fearsome reputation among the Russians. We have a few minutes to prepare for the incoming attack. Vityok will man the machine gun. Whoever makes it inside the building will be met by Ahmed's AKSU.
Кирдык, кто тут борзый такой? Кирдык, кто тут борзый такой?
Janky-ass game. This is their 3rd project on this engine. I would be lying if I said the combat wasn't enjoyable, but it is very simple. Whoever hits the other guy first usually wins, because getting hit with bullets stun locks you. 2 people means twice the carrying capacity. A good portion of the money we made is spent on repair kits, because all the armors and weapons need to be maintained. Ahmed optimistically doesn't believe that the incident will harm his relationship with Konev. In any case, it's bedtime.
Пока было спокойно.
Everything was quiet for a while. Ahmedgrad established trade routes to neighboring villages. Things were good, but it wouldn't last. The sounds of gunfire come from the direction of Konev's HQ. My criticism of Marauder world building is that Ozersk doesn't feel like a place inhabited by human beings. The authorities didn't even bother removing the vehicle husks around their stronghold. But I suppose Fallout is also like this.
Лови, переваривай.
The man-eating dogs move incredibly slow. They're like dog-shaped Dark Souls projectiles, but if the dogs actually manage to reach Ahmed, he gets stun-locked and killed.
На, мы здесь ежели чё воюем.
He says, "Take that! We are waging war over here, by the way."
На.
Konev's people are dead or gone. The admin building is full of fresh bodies and heavily armed looters. Ahmed gets a silencer, a grenade launcher attachment, and a reflex sight for his AK-74. And then we discover a survivor in a nearby building.
Эй, воин ислама.
Hello, warrior of Islam. Serb, is that you? What are you doing here? He was one of the men who came to arrest us on the day 2 of the adventure. Serb is gonna be living with us now. Ahmed cares for the Ozersk community, and he's gonna be doing a side quest for this guy. A young woman went for a walk and got chased away from her home by human-eating dogs. We should go on patrol, see if we can find her. There is a new character at the market who sells pies with meat. I refuse the purchase since the nature of the meat is not specified and it could be pork. We should take our Islam more seriously. The Palace of Culture, one of the districts we previously destroyed. This place is now the home of the Ozersk Cannibal Fellowship. Is this where the meat pies come from? Very entrepreneurial.
Кирдык.
Plasticity. Eating human meat unlocks this power. This is what the big Vata is hiding from you. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we'll be rescuing the girl. At least we reduced the local cannibal population. Let no one say I'm unsympathetic to the plights of this community. I thank you all for attending these proceedings, and I hope their significance is not lost. Good evening. Back when Konev was in charge, he had an ambitious lieutenant named Nigmatov. Ahmed thinks the administration would have imploded even without him, but he sure sped things up. Konev is dead. Another winter came and went. Our boy Serb recovered from his injuries. Many times, various gangs tried attacking our commie block, but Ahmedgrad is protected by higher power and a 50 cal machine gun.
Сходил бы на торжок, рыбки взял, что ли? Я бы хоть пирог поставила. Все какое-то разнообразие.
The wife tells us to go to the market and buy some fish. She is sick-tired of eating potatoes all the time. This is like a setup to a poster level. I can't wait to find out how this will inevitably lead to us killing 50 Russian grannies. Hell yeah, arena fighting. You know, this engine actually supports facial animations, they just chose not to do it in this scene. From the following conversation, we learn a few things. The residents of Ozersk know us by name, and they seem to be respectful towards Ahmed. The guy in black leather is Zhirik. We've met him. He is this person, one of Konev's who switched sides to Nigmatov. But they never fully trusted a turncoat, so he decided to go do his own thing. The business plan was to make the locals pay him protection money. What were we supposed to buy? Oh yeah, fish. Zhirik has some interesting things to say. Not far from Ozersk, there is an abandoned nuclear arsenal facility. It's still sealed, almost impossible to break in without access codes. But he knows a guy who used to work there. This is relevant to my interests, as I've always envisioned Ahmedgrad as a nuclear power.
На, мы здесь ежели чё воюем.
Another battle against slow dogs. It's different when fighting people, but I've never seen Ahmed miss a single headshot when firing at animals. Now, the access code guy is kidnapped by bandits or whoever these guys are. I can't say I was paying attention. This is that time of the month when Ahmed massacres a neighborhood. The bandits have a lot of grenades, and they're not afraid to throw them at the wall right in front of their faces. They grenaded themselves like 5 times in this battle.
Не мне это надо вам.
The rescued guy suggests clearing our inventories before raiding the arsenal. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. We are about to make a friend.
Да не ссы.
He names the dog Kabir. It's a Tatar word that means brave. Alright, time to go to the arsenal, located in a snowy bandit-infested forest. Jirik packs an RPK machine gun. Ahmed is armed with an AK-74 with every possible attachment and upgrade.
Лезете? Так потом не плачьте.
When we spot an enemy, we click on their head, and Ahmed puts a bullet into it half a second later. That's how combat works in this game. The bandits failed to breach the arsenal, but that's clearly not for the lack of trying. We get inside via the ventilation system. The red lights are the emergency power.
Все замерли. Работает сапер.
There are claymore mines everywhere. This might as well be the signature of the housewives who cleansed this place years ago. The generators still work.
Здесь замок.
Tons of locked containers in this place. Even a successful attempt at lockpicking wastes a tool, and there is a limited supply of those in the game. You can't tell if the container was worth it until after you expend resources, which I feel encourages save scumming. But then again, that might as well be the subtitle for this game. Some of the containers are worth it though. Here is a tube RPG launcher. Most doors can be penetrated via repeat Ahmed kicks. I know this will disappoint some of you, but we didn't actually come here to acquire nuclear weapons. This is our true goal, the machine gun on one of the BTRs. Ahmed is fixated on acquiring machine guns. Find yourself someone who looks at you the way Mr. Ahmedzyanov looks at a 50 cal. In an early conversation with Konev, Ahmed mentions he was a machine gunner back in the Soviet military. This must be the reason he is sentimental. I wonder if this is true for the author of the books. But what if the bad guys come from the direction not covered by machine guns? I think it's time to let go, Ahmed. Yeah, I thought the camp outside was way too big for the small bandit squad defending it. Time to take out the trash. I love this energetic music playing over our two bums slowly walking forward, overloaded with loot. The RPG tube has fantastic anti-personnel properties when used in enclosed spaces, but the best tactic is, of course, to just click on bad guys' heads and go to the next target when Ahmed says the line.
Кирдык.
He will never let go. They don't have a vehicle, so I guess they'll just haul it like this all the way to the commie block. This must have taken many hours. Time to go to bed. A lot of work was done today.
Все снова.
And things were quiet once again. With Ahmed's help, Jirik took control of the Ozersk market. Instead of many independent traders, all activity was consolidated into one big bazaar. And there are news from the mainland, quote-unquote. There is shooting in the former Volgograd, which is former Stalingrad, something to do with its proximity to Caucasus. The European part of Russia is suffering from a plague. No doubt the housewives' invention. On the other hand, Siberia is doing great. They even reintroduced actual money instead of bullets. One place that sucks shit is the nearby town of Hasli. Having no means to sustain their community, these people devolved to the level of Fallout raiders. They're gonna be a pain in our ass. The sounds of gunfire are the Haslians raiding our neighbors. They'll be coming here next. A defensive mission, this time with 2 machine guns. Hasli or Kasli is a real town near Ozersk. The lake is called Big Kasli. As you can see, there is a new defensive structure near Ahmedgrad. A maze of vehicle wrecks. Whatever, it's actually not that useful. You put Ahmed in front of the entrance and click on bad guys' heads. If they push with numbers, you slowly retreat while firing.
Один патрон, а сколько удовольствия!
They will run out of men before you run out of rooms. All that crap, machine guns, mines, mazes, all the marauding that we did, these were trials sent by Allah to make Ahmed believe in himself, so that the bad guys' heads could get clicked.
Так потом не плачьте. На, мы здесь ежели чё воюем. Так вот она как жизнь-то поворачивается.
Controlling more than one person means dealing with the game's awful UI and the dog shit camera, one of the worst I've seen in this medium. It makes the Neverwinter 2 camera seem tolerable in comparison. I basically ended up soloing this entire game with Ahmed.
Кирдык.
Alright, that's it. We're done here. In order to progress the plot, we go back to the Bazaar. Zhirik consolidating trade wasn't just a narrative element. There is a new trader who sells machine guns and RPGs. Zhirik himself has a side quest for us. The armed men are slavers. I tell our guys to pre-aim at their heads and...
Одни кишки по потолку.
There is even a choice. We can escort the slave to Zhirik or let her go. I accidentally deleted the footage of this, but if you pick the second option, the protagonist says something along the lines, "Alright, go, maybe Allah will forgive some of my sins." Curiously, our party members can talk to other characters and they'll have different dialogue. We meet more survivors of Konev's administration. They are planning a strike on Nigmatov. After selling all the extra crap we looted, we're going back to the Soviet vault, the same one we demined earlier in the story.
Оба!
And who are these fancy boys?
Это ж хозяйки.
Bitch, these are the housewives. What are they doing here? We should wait for them to leave.
А что? Америкосы...
What, you think the Amerikosi are better than Nigmatov's animals? What is wrong with you? We should waste them while we have the opportunity. The excited guy rushes forward, provoking a massive battle. Oh fuck, African soldiers with massive guns, they are real! The battle is quite hard and it took a few reloads, but the American troops didn't have any headwear, so
Получи, падла.
But they do have NATO body armor and guns, like this M4 rifle. The downside is that the traders don't carry any ammunition for it, and you can't attach a Kostyur grenade launcher to an M4. Even if mechanically these guns ain't much better than what we had, because of the way the narrative hypes up the masters, acquiring their weapons feels like you're getting plasma rifles in Enemy Unknown.
Эти твари еще и с пиндосами цацкались.
Motherfuckers, these animals were buddies with the Pindosi. Pindos is a Russian derogatory word for Americans. Wikipedia says it used to be a 19th century ethnic slur for native northern Pontic Greeks. Esoteric, if true. It somehow evolved to refer to US military servicemen, and then became a universal disparaging term for all Americans.
Как так получилось, а?
Ahmed is annoyed that he was forced into a skirmish with the housewives.
Ты что думаешь?
What, you think I was trying to trick you into this?
Если б так думал...
If I thought you were trying to trick me, you would have received 9mm at the back of the head. We have a clear picture of what's going on. It's the Pindosi, they are behind everything. The housewives decided to cleanse Ozersk by cleverly playing its inhabitants against each other, Nigmatov against Konev. As a reward for winning the battle, we are given an AEK 973. Incredible technology by the standards of Marauderverse. I'm giving it to Serb since Ahmed is from now on an AR user. The adventure will come to an end soon, so might as well spend bullets on an RPG tube. Time to get some sleep.
Жди, баран! А я съеду, сука, сам! Без тебя, идиота!
No rest for the wicked. Serb has bad news, which he delivers via what appears to be telepathy. A housewife military column was spotted in one of the nearby villages. There are armored cars, a striker APC, some engineering vehicles. The soldiers wear strange-looking helmets. We should go have a chat with Zhirik, see what his plans are. Curious things are happening at the Bazaar. These guys are caravanners. Yes, exactly like in Fallout. Their leader heard about our exploits. He has a job offer. Important people are planning on removing the Americans from Ozersk by force. They could use our help. There is a reward too, an EU passport and a ticket to Greece. Is this how this story will end? With Ahmed going to Greece? Zhirik thinks this is the most obvious psyop in the world. It's a honeypot. The housewife's intelligence set this up to identify the potentially dangerous elements in Ozersk. His solution is to sit quietly and hope they lose interest.
Перестреляют, как в тире.
Ahmed is infuriated by this. They're gonna shoot us like rats in a garbage dump. The two men yell at each other and Ahmed leaves.
Да и хрен с тобой, баран тупорылый!
Fuck you, dumb sheep. Sit and wait until they come for you. I'm leaving, bitch. Leaving without you, moron. We've never seen Ahmed lose his shit like this. The yelling attracted the attention of a pack of slow dogs.
Расплодилась тварей.
I think one of them survived 2 headshots in a row.
Ты что тут все повытащил?
What are you doing? We are leaving Ahmedgrad. It's too dangerous to remain here. Pack everything, he says.
Кибир, пойди сюда. Блин, что еще за дела? Кибир!
The dog we befriended is nowhere to be found. Kabir, not the most developed character. I think the devs just ran out of money by the end here. That's it. That's our cart. Exactly like in that other game, just missing a Brahmin. Not missing the machine gun though. Dog's gone, but the 50 cal is here. Who is man's best friend? The facts speak for themselves. You know, it's good that we didn't recover the nuke. Imagine Ahmed trying to haul a warhead out of 30 in this thing. Serb and Vityok are also traveling with us. They're just not in the cutscene. The Americans.
Вот о чем я и говорил.
So arrogant, thinking they can take Ozersk with such small numbers. They are betting on this high-tech gizmo, the really existing active denial system. This is why they wear the strange helmets. The ADS is a crowd control tool, a microwave beam. For the first millisecond, it just felt like the skin was warming up. Then it got warmer and you felt like it was on fire. As soon as you are away from the beam, your skin returns to normal and there is no pain. The Wikipedia article implies they tested this on someone's dick, to no effect. Ahmed changes his mind. We have an opportunity here. We can't leave. If we take out the microwave, our guys in Ozersk might have a chance. Time to stroll through the Valley of Death. If you can't tell, this is the same location where we began the adventure, the checkpoint. The most important target is the engineering vehicle. I believe it's the power plant for the active denial system, and it's easily taken out by a 50 cal.
Будем отмахиваться? Один патрон, а сколько удовольствия!
As soon as the vehicle is destroyed, you better dismount from the MG, because there are gonna be 24 NATO rifles aiming at you. The strategy for the final battle is the same as for all previous battles. We hide our extras behind cover and use Ahmed to solo the level via clicking on heads. AR is amazing at clicking on heads.
Ну ты снайпер, ёп...
And there goes the heat ray. I'm trying to hit the APC with an RPG launcher I bought in Jirix, but somehow Ahmed widely missed 3 times in a row. In my first playthrough, this led me to mistakenly believe the APC is set to be invulnerable for whatever reason, and I'm supposed to wait for the timer to count down while preparing for a second wave. Later, I would learn that the second wave is actually a supposed-to-lose kind of fight. I still won it, with a lot of reloads, but the game ain't over until you blow up the striker. You have to shoot it at point blank, because Ahmed can't figure out how to aim an RPG tube, the fakest Muslim.
Чем мы хозяюшкам помешали?
Who the hell knows what we did to provoke the housewives? I have to admit they prepared well, unleashing their technological superiority. That's Jirek being victimized by the active defense system. Unfortunately for the Star Trek Marines, they met Ahmed and his heavy machine gun.
И не знаешь, кому после боя водку пить.
War is a complicated matter. You never know who'll end up drinking vodka and who'll be turned into minced meat. Oh hey, Jirek got up. Without the high-tech tricks, as you can see, it did not work out for the Pindossi. The housewives are only badass Rambos when they can see through walls how you shrivel in pain. Hello, Kibir.
Через стенки видят, как враг.
I never thought we'd get the chance to touch their soft behinds. Why didn't we do this sooner? What were we waiting for? I don't know, Ahmed. Perhaps we were too busy with other stuff, like defusing minefields by having homeless people run over them. And that was Marauder. A garbled plot, but the exotic setting and good writing make it work. The game ends somewhat abruptly, but the story of Marauder continues into real life. Let's talk about it. But first...
На!
These videos are made possible by the members of Ahmedgrad Defense Brigades, with special thanks to our machine gun sentries, Jim Lawrence, Hibernia Scholar, RB, Spoopy IU, Alpha Potty, Strop, Nathan Kabiska, Brian Johnson, Atellite, Yuri Solodovnichenko, Richard Jackson, Mike Harris, this username, Byron Callan, Haim Rowan, support our troops. So, in September 2008, the person behind the Marauderverse started a Vatnik activist project called No to Individualism. The idea is this. During the war, the Nazis killed over 13 million Soviet civilians. These were non-combatants, the military casualties are not even counted here. But what if each one of their victims accepted their inevitable death and acted to take at least one Nazi to the grave with them? The project suggests that we cultivate this sort of mindset within ourselves, so when the Americans invade, which is soon, we become the Soviet Mujahideen. The act of rejection of individualism is performed by changing your social media picture to a number. Now, you are one of many. This was around the time the financial crisis happened. Well, the financial crisis, that's what they call it. It was actually the event engineered by the Anglo-Saxons in order to weaken the nations of the world before the incoming invasion. Marauder is a book, and it's a video game, but it's also theory. But when will the Americans strike? Somewhat disappointingly, the Pindossi just kept not attacking, and the proposed invasion dates had to be moved forward. This Russian wiki says that the individualism deniers eventually concluded that 2014 will be the year of the big fucking. And that turned out to be completely true. Well, what do you know? Ahmed's intuition didn't fail him. The revolution in Ukraine, the Russian invasion, entrenchment of kleptocracy, battlefield embarrassment, mass exodus, demographic catastrophe. Most of us failed to recognize it back then, but future historians would probably refer to these events as the ones that started the process of dissolution of the political entity previously dominant in North Central Asia. I'm trying to be intentionally vague here because a few months ago I was forced to make a possibly legally binding statement that I won't be posting information that discredits the whole Russian military thingamajig. Marauder is a story about an American invasion, written by a person who has never seen an American in his life. Next month, we're gonna double down on this and take a look at another story, also about Americans. But this one was written by someone who I don't think ever in their life interacted with any human being of any nationality. The Duke Nukem Forever of Fallout. I'm only like a few hours in, but it's already the best thing that ever happened to me. You know, no black man ever called me a